All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever,
First edition.
first edition of the unnamed podcast. Currently, Taylor and Cormac chat shite, basically. Do what we do anyway, except we're going to record it this time.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to give you the absolute insight and our infinite knowledge of the sport that is.
And just lie
football.
to you completely as well.
Give you the most outrageous views. No, I think Manchester United are going to be playing Tottenham. 4:30 kickoff on the Sunday. I think, God, this is just a dreadful game.
This is going to be absolutely
This is going to be a dreadful game.
It's dog shit versus dog shit.
Yeah, it's Manchester United have managed to lose every single player ever in the past 7 days. Ruben Amorim was week of training is going to be immense.
Well, who's out at the moment?
Who isn't out, man? So it's been confirmed. Mainu out for season. Ahmad out for season. We haven't got... who else have we not got? We haven't got Ugarte. We haven't got Collie. We haven't got Yoro. We haven't got Sandro Martinez, ACL. Oh my God. And it's dreadful. Seems like we have 7 young chapos on the bench for today. I think it'd be really interesting when inevitably Tottenham score first. Because Manchester United never score first. Who he turns to try and inevitably turn it around.
What's a good... I mean, you want to win this, right? You've got, obviously...
Desperately.
That's a stupid statement.
Manchester United desperately need to win this game. I mean, look at the table, man.
I know. Well, was it 15th versus 16th? Or
yeah. Everton have now become the best team in the league.
Overnight.
So all of a sudden, it seemed like just a dreadful battle between Spurs and United. Actually, now, Everton are ahead of both of us, man.
Mm-hmm.
Out of nowhere. Yeah. The David Moyes effect.
David Moyes effect, honestly.
Who knew, man? Who knew?
I think,
absolutely must win.
Looking at the lineups as well, I think Spurs are slowly getting their team back together.
Yeah.
Which looks like they've got Vicario back, which I think is probably quite big. I mean, I'm not huge on Vicario.
Nah.
Because especially the start of the season, people were wailing about him.
Yeah, I think he's particularly overrated with his feet and the whole corner thing. It'll be interesting to see if United actually do that because so many other teams
really target
Vicario. Yeah. So whether Manchester United switched on enough to target that, who knows really. But I think, getting Maddison back is a huge one. Maddison.
Yeah. Really, well, is he... Because he was out briefly, wasn't he, with a certain injury? Yeah. Well, because he's always...
Unspecified injury. Always. Yeah. To be fair, he's had a weird season. He started off so well and he's just tailed off, lost all momentum, I think. I don't think he got in the England squad, did he?
No, he didn't, did he? That was a big song.
I think...
Was he the one crying about it? Or someone else?
I think
understandably. I mean, it's hard. But he just isn't available enough and probably isn't good enough.
There's so many better players in front of him in the England squad as well. There's just so many players who are so informed, so gifted. You know,
there was a game earlier in the season that he played where he looked like at its absolute best. I can't remember who it was now, so this is a bit of a nothing statement. But I mean, he's not good enough. No,
that makes sense. He's not had that consistency. That first 10 games for Tottenham last season when they won every single game in a row. Mm-hmm. He looked fantastic. I thought Spurs, for like 35 million as well, I thought Spurs had just grabbed an absolute bargain.
Well, I went to Arsenal because it was around the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Arsenal signed Odegaard permanently, and it could be just having on loan. And I think he had a good loan spell. He wasn't the player he is now, obviously, but I thought he looked great. Yeah. And it was kind of, Maddison or Odegaard around the same price. I think Odegaard, obviously,
Odegaard
was the choice.
Fantastic player, Odegaard is. Yeah. He's one of them, you watch him and he understands football.
Yeah, he's different quality, really.
What a fantastic... the best trait to have is actually understanding football. You look at like City, for example, their team was just packed full of players who understood football. And it makes it so much easier just to like dominate matches and kind of like control games and stuff. I feel like you look at the United squad and we just have a lack of people who truly understand football, like how to manage the situation and how to keep their head up. That's why they just put themselves in so many ridiculous situations.
Well, that's it. Staying on United then. Talking about kind of the lack of understanding, who do you think, what kind of players, or do you have examples of players that you need to bring in the summer that do change a lot? I mean, probably 5 or 6, maybe even 7
I think you could probably pick 4 or 5 players from the United squad that obviously just do not fit the system at all. So I think immediately you're going to see Casemiro and Eriksen leave at the end of the season. That's 2 midfielders you need to replace. I think one will be Collier, just and actually, interestingly, Kone on the bench signed in the summer, 5 million from Marley.
That's a young
guy. He's been in and out of the under 21s and the under 18s since he's come, but I don't think he's played lots of games. So it's actually really interesting because the other chaps on the pitch, they're consistent players for the under 18s, the under 21s. Whereas he's played like somewhat, but like been very much in and out. Mm-hmm. But I think last few weeks when he has played, he's put in like fairly dominant performances. So maybe he's adapted quicker than they were expecting and they were just easing him in. So I guess, so it'd be interesting to see him. But anyway, I think that they'll probably need to get one midfielder. I think a profile of like Baleba from Brighton, I think would be a really good one.
Would you go for Baleba himself, do you think? Would Brighton be willing to let him go? Would he want to go? I mean, would you go to United?
I don't think it'd be a bad signing.
Well, how much he's on it, Brighton?
I can't imagine he's on much, but I think he'd be a really interesting profile. He's so raw.
Yeah.
I think he's so raw. And I don't think Manchester United is particularly an environment at the minute which is like fostering growth.
Absolutely.
I think it's very negative environment. I think you're going to need a strong summer. I think you need established players to come in. I think we haven't really got the time or the space. But it does seem like Ineos is going down the avenue of younger signings. So, I mean, it'll just be interesting to see if they go for like the more established young players. But I think,
Casemiro, man, keep him going.
Just keep him going, man. Put some fuel in the tank. All up the joints. Yeah, I know. I mean, imagine if he comes in today, he could have a fantastic performance. He really does have a dreadful performance in.
When he has a dreadful performance, he has he just looks, honestly, I mean, we don't need to go into how bad Casemiro has been. But,
no, man. Well, he just hasn't played now, which I think is really quite telling. So I think that spot in midfield is going to open up. So for just case of example, someone like a Carlos Baleba, someone who is taller, younger, more athletic. Because
Onana was a name mentioned for a long time. Was obviously before he went to Villa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think again he would have been a good profile. I just think someone who is, like I say, young, physical, athletic, and also has good like ball retention.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's probably the hardest combination to find.
It's not many of those
in
players,
football. Yeah, there's not many players. I mean, if you look back in the past 10, 15 years in the Prem, I mean, the one that immediately comes to mind is Yaya Toure.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's Yaya Toure.
It's Yaya, but exactly, you don't really see like a player that dominant currently around. I guess we probably need another. We probably do need another centre back. Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Lisandro Martinez obviously being out.
He's been a rough time, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think Lindelof is another one who's going to leave at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I think his contract is expiring. I can't. Don't even get me started. I refuse. I can't go down that avenue on the very first iteration. That's just
absolute nonsense.
So he's going to leave. So spot opens there. I guess it's just gonna have to be someone young with lots of potential. I mean, I feel like there's quite a lot of centre backs out there who are young and got lots of potential. And Europe as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think. Who'd be a good name? Do you have any ideas for a centre back?
Oh, God, I mean, my knowledge of kind of the European centre back market is limited.
I mean,
to be completely honest,
I've always said to you, I think a really good signing for the centre back role would be Branthwaite from Everton.
Yeah, that's because obviously you bid on him. Was it last summer?
Yeah, I mean, we really tried in the same breath.
Was it like 80 million?
They wanted 80 million, and we went and were like 35. So I think that was just
taking the piss.
So low. I think it was more so playing on the idea that Everton needed money.
Yeah,
but,
well, they don't anymore, do they? So is it after this season they're
fine? Well, they're not fine. That's far from fine. But I think obviously once they're in the new stadium as well, increased revenues and everything. New owners have come in. I don't know how great their owners have been at Roma, but I think everyone is saying or in agreement that it can't get any worse than the previous owner.
Everton fans don't want to kill themselves at the moment. So
I think, Jarrad Branthwaite would be a good one. I think he's also used to the Premier League as well. I think you could imagine a world where he played quite well with like Harry Maguire.
Sure.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So I think, you need centre back probably. We probably do need a left wing back or a right wing back because I mean
it's just every booking position, isn't it? The entire new 11.
Football's a weird sport. Like Dalot last season won Player of the Year for Manchester United.
He was great last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, but also we were so bad.
Yeah, well, I think that plays a lot there, doesn't it?
It's telling that obviously after the 6th year of De Gea winning back to back Players of the Year, and it's your goalkeeper, which is never very good sign.
No, it's not.
For it then to be like Dalot, well, I mean, this season he's not been great at all. I think
obviously issue with United is you're not scoring any goals.
Yeah, no goals.
Where do you need a new strike? Do you need a number 9? Because obviously you've got Højlund, you've got Xerxes, who haven't really done it yet.
No, I mean
Højlund's had flashes, I think, from what I've seen. Xerxes he's had a few good games. especially recently, I think.
You can see it in him. You can see the player in him.
Yeah.
And it's just...
There's talks about him going in January, which I thought was crazy.
He wouldn't go anyway. I think Manchester United have bought someone who I think they really do believe in him.
He's a Ten Hag man, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a Ten Hag man, but I also think he's a young, talented striker. I think he is talented. I think everyone kind of acknowledges that in the club. So I think he wouldn't go anywhere. It's just like complementing him with someone, perhaps. And just because I've completely forgot this stat, but I read it the other day, that he was the youngest player to score in 7? Or I'm going to go crazy and suggest 9 Premier League games in a row last season. Completely forgot that happened.
Really?
Yeah. So he can do it. So like there's proof in the pudding. He actually scored a fantastic goal against Tottenham last season.
Yeah, so that.
Yeah. So I think
would you say priorities wise then for United? If you could sign, let's say 3 positions.
Yeah.
Would you go midfield, centre back, wing back?
Yeah, probably. But I think I think it's definitively known that Manchester United are going to try and sign an important forward. It's the phrase that they're using.
Yeah.
It's important forward. So I think they're going to be looking to spend a good chunk of money. So I think it's something worth discussing just because I think they're probably going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think then I think we just need to buy someone from the Premier League. I just think we need to buy someone who can, because
already can do it. It doesn't have to do
yeah, Højlund, Xerxes, both Serie A, have come across, have struggled with the difference in the physicality. I think we just need someone who is more...
Evan Ferguson, do you think? Is he someone?
No,
obviously he's had a bit of a tough year as well in terms of injuries. And
I think don't think it'd work immediately.
No.
I think Manchester United needs something that works
quick
immediately.
Quick jump straight into it.
So I think, obviously Liam Delap, of
course, yeah.
If Ipswich get relegated, I mean, all of a sudden you are looking at a fairly reasonably priced deal.
Or did you do 30 to 40 million?
Well, the price is pretty actually already set on the basis that Manchester City have a buyback in the contract with Ipswich. So I think that's 40 million.
Right.
So they're going to be at least 40 million.
Okay.
Just so, because if City do activate it, I mean, I don't think they will.
No, they don't.
They've just spent however 80 million on Marmoush.
Yeah.
They have Erling Haaland. So I think they'll probably be all right, but they might just do it because obviously, I mean, technically they could sign him 40 mil and sell him for 65 mil. And that represents profit.
There must be some rules against being able to do that, though, right?
It happens quite a lot in La Liga.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
in the Real Madrid, Barcelona will insert buyback clause when they send them on to a middle of the league team in La Liga. They'll then they'll be interested they'll play well or whatever, and then they'll be interested in them, and then someone can buy them, and then what Real Madrid will essentially do, or Barcelona they'll activate the buyback, bring them back in, and then bank the higher fee.
Interesting.
So I think it's more common. I don't think you really see it done here, but I mean, Manchester City are clever, so they could if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that'd be an interesting one. I think as well, Matheus Cunha, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think he is someone who would bring Højlund into play more.
Yeah.
I think he plays...
Well, where do you play? Do you play him with Højlund then, do you?
Yeah, I think so. I think you play him just behind him. I think you play him one of the inside forwards.
Because he does have that kind of flexibility, I think, to play anywhere in kind of the front line, would you say, Cunha?
Yeah, I think you could play pretty much across it. Obviously,
down the middle would be...
Yeah, formation Amorim plays. And actually, interestingly, I wouldn't have suggested it, but the way that he has gone, like last few games, Amorim, is the side putting Bruno Fernandes in centre mid. So I would have never suggested it because to me, that position was always going to be filled by Bruno and then Ahmad. Obviously, Ahmad being out. So I think now that he's done that, the opportunity to bring in a forward, kind of like how Xerxes should be by design if his attributes were increased by like 10 in everything. I think he would be able to bring Højlund to play more. I think that should be the bigger priority on the basis that Højlund has the potential. They've invested a lot of money. So the idea should be trying to almost maximize that potential rather than buying someone who's almost going to take his place, because then what do you do? Lots of games, so he'd still play, but I think for Højlund to maximize his potential, he needs to feel like the main striker at the club. I think bringing in a Cunha indicates that he's probably going to be playing slightly behind, and it'll be Højlund running in behind, trying to latch onto everything. And I think that would be better.
Yeah.
So I think you buy a Liam Delap and he's coming under the premise he's probably going to start a lot of games in the Premier League.
For sure.
That means either Xerxes or Højlund. It kind of makes one of them redundant.
Yeah.
So I think...
We don't need 3 strikers, do you? First team strikers.
No. So, but like I said, it does sound like important striker. So
yeah, whatever that means.
Exactly. So I think that, and then right wing back, left wing back, it'd be interesting. Any ideas?
No fucking clue, John.
Like I
You
say,
tell me.
Eight Nuri or Wolves, interesting
Yeah.
one. Again, I think Manchester United dealing with Wolves. You've seen clubs recently go to Wolves and do good deals. I think Wolves sold Jota to Liverpool for a reasonable amount. Or was it
Yeah, that was a few years ago now. That
was a few years ago. You looked at Pedro Neto to Chelsea. What was that? 40, 50 million?
Yeah, which I thought was a good deal at the time. It sounded like it was going to go for a lot more.
Yeah. You definitely would think clubs would make much more of a difficult situation. No, that seemed like they did it relatively easily. So I think, they've got a history, and I think they would take a reasonable offer. But then would they want to sell? Because ultimately, I think Cunha can leave.
Yeah.
So would they sell Cunha and Nate Nori in the same window? Probably.
I'm not sure they made much choice, will they? That's the first one to leave.
I mean, they could get relegated. I don't think they will.
No.
But, when I last saw, they were in the relegation zone. So
they are 18th. Nope, they're not. They're 17th. Sorry.
Yeah. So maybe that would be one. I think right wing back. Oh, I don't know, actually. I don't know. Well, I will go slightly off topic while I try and think of a right wing back. My dream signing for Manchester United, I realised this. I watched the Manchester City Real Madrid game the other day. My dream signing would be Federico Valverde from Real Madrid. Yeah, I know. No, just that midfielder who I was on about. That should be. If you went to Madrid with like 90 million and just
there's absolutely no way.
There's not a world that exists. That's why I'm caveating it with dream signing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that would be just fun. You really do hear opinions about Valverde, and everyone who's kind of around him in a footballing sense.
No, he
says, what a machine this boy is.
I know everyone always mentions it, but just the way you can strike a ball.
Every time I watch him, I'm just so impressed.
How old is he? About 26?
No, he's like 24, 20. He's so young, and literally, it's like Madrid are just so. I don't know how they do it. They bought him from Pinarol, in Uruguay for 4 or 5 million.
That's wild.
That is what a deal. What a deal. And now he is literally worth. He's been worth for at least 2 or 3 seasons, over £70 million easily. Yeah. So it's just what a dream signing that would be.
That would be.
Ultimately never going to happen. But so then, I think that'd probably. I mean.
Well, let's tie this off now in terms of the United.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the season's been quite difficult, hasn't it?
Yeah,
to say the least. In the sense that you've been absolutely dog shit, and
it's so bad.
Amarin's come in, and you've still been dog shit.
Yeah,
and he's trying to do this identity, which I think is great. But what's a successful season now? Because it's the league. Who gives a shit? You're in the FA Cup still. Yeah. You're in the Europa League still.
Absolutely. I mean, the goal at a minimum, just pure goal, should be just to walk away from one of the 2 competitions with the trophy.
Yeah. What's more likely, FA Cup or Europa League? What's more likely? What would you rather?
I think I would prefer. I think most likely it's probably going to be the Europa League. I believe. So I think if, for example, Manchester United pull AZ Alkmaar in the next stage of the draw, that is a favourable draw, and I think if they bypass that, they'll get whoever they get. But I think if they get past that, then the momentum will build, and I think they'll start focusing on it. FA Cup, I think, would be nice just on the basis I'm selfish and I love the Europa League. So, I mean, that would be pleasant. But then, obviously, I just don't...
Taylor wants away days, basically.
Yeah,
in the Europa
but
League,
also, on the other side of it, financially, it'd be so valuable to win the Europa League for just the money the competition gives you anyway, including the Champions League qualification.
Champions League,
it would alleviate so many of Manchester United's immediate financial pressures.
Yeah.
And I think, but I do believe that's great from a business point of view, financial point of view, great, big tick in the box. But I think from a footballing point of view, it goes so far to paint a really wrong picture at what Man U is if they're in the Champions League. I think because they're in the Champions League and the Manchester United, everyone's going to have this view that, it's bad. But it's not that bad. But I think actually, no, it really is bad. And these guys go into Champions League and I think they'll struggle. I think they'll struggle with the league format as well in this one. And I just think it would cause maybe more damage emotionally to the team. If we go playing Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich, we'll just get tarnished. They will just be, because they are better teams, better footballing teams than we currently are at the minute. I think, another season in Europa League, fine. If we don't get Europe, it really leaves no excuse.
Yeah.
For next season, we have to have a good season because we have, less to think about, supposedly very good footballers who are just very worn down. So they won't be as worn down. So, yeah, I think, but winning the Europa League would be brilliant. I mean, I'd have a fantastic time. And I think just to go potentially watch Manchester United win a European Cup, albeit it's the Europa League, whatever, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, nice. There you go, United. Should we talk about the title very briefly at the end?
Let's talk about the title, man.
I mean, it's looking like, obviously, Liverpool so the time we're recording is Liverpool just beaten Wolves 2-1, which was a little bit shaky towards the end, but they've obviously done it. They are, I believe that's 7 points clear at the top of the league now.
Yeah.
From Arsenal's win yesterday at Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's pretty much there now. It would take an absolutely colossal fall off from Liverpool. I mean, the next 3 games they've got coming up, they've got Villa away, they've got City at home, and then they've got someone else, which is a tough game. Can't remember off the top of my head now.
Mm-hmm.
But so they've got a few difficult games coming up. Obviously, you'd still expect them to go out and get the wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got to beat or get a result at Villa.
Mm-hmm.
City, they should comfortably.
Yeah.
Based on how we've seen it. But it's still, it'll be a spicy game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime Manchester City play Liverpool, it's a big game.
Yeah.
I think I actually would caveat what you said, like in terms of it's, it feels like it's pretty much done. I actually don't think it's pretty much done. Like I say, just name those fixtures. I think if they come away from those fixtures unscathed, then it's done. But I think it wouldn't be a monumental fall down because it's actually 7 points. That's not, it's not a huge amount at Arsenal. Sure. Obviously, Arsenal have been weakened. You say weakened. They've lost Kai Havertz.
Our best player.
To
be fair, I think he is our top scorer, which is...
no, he probably is. And you know what? I looked at his numbers and he was like, 12 goals, 5 assists so far this season.
Yeah,
that's actually fine. Like that, that would put him miles ahead of anyone else in the Manchester United team.
Newcastle was our third game, sorry, Liverpool have. But that's at home, at Anfield.
Yeah. And Newcastle didn't look particularly good yesterday.
No, they looked absolutely dog shit, actually. They were awful. Man City just ripped through them. Yeah.
I think if they get through this period, I think then Liverpool kind of do have it. I think every time I watch Liverpool, they don't look fantastic.
No, but
they're very much like some...
I've said since the beginning of the season, which obviously, like, I wasn't convinced by Liverpool at the beginning. I was convinced they were going to drop off. I always thought that Arsenal were the better team. And we just haven't been because we just can't seem to score any goals. Unless we've got Marino playing on top, apparently. But Liverpool just keep doing it. And Salah is actually probably having an all-time season.
No, yeah.
He's on 23 goals now.
Yeah.
And he's on, I think, is it 12 or 13 assists as well?
Wow.
I mean, this rivals, the numbers that he could finish on. He could finish on 30 goals.
Yeah, no, he is statistically on track to have the greatest individual Premier League season ever.
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot you can do about that, really.
In 2025, where I think the gap, the skill gap is so small in a Premier League, which is the most competitive.
Apart from probably the bottom 3, unfortunately.
That's a long-standing issue.
It's a whole divide of the Championship.
As a league as a whole, the competition is so strong. It's the strongest it's ever been. There's so much money flowing around. Like so many teams are well set and well managed and well organized. And Salah is managing to have this all-time great season in the midst of, it's not what it was 15, 20 years ago to do it because the gap was so much bigger and the whole environment around football was just, so different. But to do it now is actually really insane.
Yeah.
Like, really insane.
It just shows to show how good he is.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's still out of contract is a whole other issue that Liverpool need to deal with.
I mean, yeah, I thought, I was under the opinion that at least one of the contracts would have been
solved at this point.
Done by
now.
The
fact that it's, now coming up to mid-Feb. It is, in fact, exactly mid-Feb.
Exactly.
And all 3 of them still haven't got a contract. It does feel like...
I think that's telling. I think...
Is it Liverpool being tight asses? Is that what it is?
I think it's Liverpool really trying to think about the next iteration of the team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because they are...
New manager.
Other than Trent, obviously.
Yeah.
Van Dijk's, 31?
Mm-hmm.
Salah's 32 or something. I might be slightly off the ages there, but they are older. I think Salah wanted a 3-year deal. Everybody wants to offer him a 2. I think I saw that. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But yeah, I think the fact that none of them have been solved is bizarre. I mean, maybe they are behind the scenes or something there. But
no, I think I truly think
like
now,
something.
If especially knowing the the feeling of what a player must have by not having the contract sorted, like the uncertainty that brings. You just imagine the psyche of a player. I feel like as the situation carries on going, the more difficult it is to sort out.
Sure.
I think time is not the healer in this instance, and for as long as it's taking longer, it feels more like it's gonna end. I do think Van Dijk will sign the contract. I think that's fine.
That feels very likely,
you can't see him really going anywhere else. He's in the prime of his career. He's not going to go to another big club. I think he wants to stay in the Premier League. You know, I think I don't imagine him going anywhere. But then I think Salah, maybe he just has this spectacular all-time mega season, wins it. You know, they win whatever they win. Say they go far in Champions League, win the Premier League, cool, Carabao Cup, win that. And he's like, you know what? I think I've done it now.
Yeah.
Like, I've done it. I can go somewhere else, have a completely different experience. He doesn't strike me as a player who's against more experiences. You know, the type of player you can imagine getting up, leaving, going to a different league.
Why does he fuck off to Saudi and earn £500,000 a week?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, realistically, he's not going to go to another European league, I don't think. I can't see any big club signing him. I think Liverpool is his only option here.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And I think that's probably something they're kind of like saying to him in the sense that respectfully, we'll give you this deal and you're this age. So more than likely other European clubs at the level you want to participate at aren't going to be doing this. And secondly, you're at a team right now where we're winning. We're one of the better teams in Europe. You know, do you want to lose that? Because the only other option for him is to then go to Saudi. And then essentially, you know, when you do go to Saudi, your career is just going off the map. You're not noticed as much, you know.
Yeah. Let's get right. Okay. Finishing off then.
Finishing off. Let's do predictions.
I was going to say, predictions for the... we've got the United. Obviously, by the time anyone hears this. Yeah. United Spurs right now. What are you saying?
This is first predictions as well, so we've got to go hard. I'm going to go for 3-1 United. I'm going to go for a Højlund goal. I'm going to go for Tottenham scoring first. James Maddison.
Put a tenner on it, man.
Put on it. You all heard it here first, man. If this happens, I mean, it's almost definitely not going to happen.
No, I'm going to say, I'm saying 2-2. Kulusevski brace.
Ooh.
Højlund and Harry Maguire header. In the 90-odd minute.
I like it. To
make it 2-2. I think that would be, I mean, that's all I'm hoping for, a good game.
All right. Nice.
All right. Beautiful. Thanks for listening. Hopefully we do more of these, if anyone is listening. But yeah, thanks for listening for Taylor and Cormac talking shite, mainly Taylor talking about Man United.
Mucho gracias. Yeah, more United to almost definitely come.
Absolutely. All right. Cheers.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.